Right now, food share benefits in Wisconsin could be soon delayed. How it'll impact one Madison woman with cerebral palsy. Also, more construction on Nolen Drive begins tomorrow. When and where you can expect closures. Plus, witches are swapping brooms for oars in this year's Yahara Witches Paddle. We'll take you there. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. We begin with breaking news out of Fort Atkinson. Police are on scene responding to a shots fired incident. This is at a home on Washington Street, and officials say the incident is a domestic disturbance. They add that the scene is secure and that there is no threat to the public. Officials remain on scene, and this is still an active investigation. Food share benefits here in Wisconsin will be delayed if the government doesn't open up by Saturday. This will impact roughly 70,000 people in Wisconsin, according to Governor Evers. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to a woman that uses SNAP about how the shutdown is impacting her.
Abigail Tessman uses food share to help keep food on the table.
The reality is, we wouldn't even be in this mess if it wasn't for the shutdown.
She's a Madison resident that has cerebral palsy. Because of her condition, she has to buy certain foods.
Like, you're not gonna see me pick up like a pineapple, because why? I won't ever be able to like prepare that pineapple, like the full one. But like if you give me a can of pineapple with the pickup lids, I can do that because like it's easier to open with a fork.
Now getting those food items will be harder.
I guess now it's to the point where it's you either complain about the funding issue or survival issue.
On October 1st, the federal government shut down because Congress failed to agree on a funding bill. Wisconsin's food share program is funded by federal dollars. Because of this, Governor Tony Evers said that food share benefits will be paused starting on Saturday, November 1st.
Where do I go after all my funds are gone, like off my card? Where do I go? Do I just attend every meal I can at a church? That's not fair, because here's the thing. Your pastor, your doctor, they're in the same boat as you.
During Tessman's Sunday grocery store run, she also told me that she wishes that politicians could spend a day in her shoes.
Try using food share benefits as an exercise and see what it feels like to live on like a loaf of bread per month. Because it's not easy.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. If anyone needs help finding resources, you can always call 211 for local resources. Now let's go ahead and get a look at your certified most accurate forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze?
It's going to be another chilly night out there. Pretty seasonal, give or take a few degrees as temperatures dip into those mid-30s further to the north. Once we get to about the Del South, that's where we're going to more or less hang out in those upper 30s to low 40s. Underneath clear to mostly clear conditions. Winds are going to be out of the southeast and light tonight, but tomorrow they are going to pick up in speed but still remain out of the southeast. That means temperatures upper 50s to low 60s as the kiddos are heading home and we're from school and we're heading home from work. But as we're heading to work and the kids are heading to school, it'll be a bit chilly again, upper 30s to about the low 40s underneath clear to mostly clear conditions. Now, after a dry start to the work week, some rain is set to move in on Tuesday, but we do look to remain dry for the most part. Come Halloween, we'll track out that rain chance Tuesday, as well as take a look at the impressive Hurricane Melissa in the full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. And as always, you can track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn weather app. It is hourly planners, road conditions, and even radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather. The Madison Metropolitan School District is confirming it's aware of a social media post claiming Whitehorse Middle School staff members were involved in the sexual assault of a student. A post made to Facebook by a parent claims her 13-year-old son was removed from Whitehorse Middle School grounds during the school day without permission and sexually assaulted by 2 school employees. An investigation into the claims is underway. MMSD is cooperating with law enforcement. The Whitehorse Middle School leadership team, MMSD administration, and the Office of School Safety are working to respond. Whitehorse Middle School additionally said in an email to parents tonight that there will be additional staff on site tomorrow morning to help support students. The school district is releasing another statement this evening. Part of the statement reads, quote, "Over the past 2 weeks, there have been incidents involving MMSD students that have been widely publicized in the media and have required police involvement. We understand that this may cause concern. Our top priority is and will always be the safety and emotional well-being of every student and staff." They also add that they conduct a review after every incident to analyze the response and identified areas for improvement. In addition to the aforementioned incident, the arrest of 3 students and hospitalization of another in a school fight at Madison West High School last week was publicized. Officials are reporting a woman has died following a UTV rollover crash in Lafayette County. 60-year-old Lisa McGahee died at UW Hospital in Madison. On Friday night, officials were dispatched to a residence on State Highway 11 in the town of Gratiot. There they determined a UTV rolled over during operating with 3 passengers inside. The woman that died was a passenger in the vehicle. The 2 other passengers were slightly hurt while the driver was treated at a local hospital for his injuries. The sheriff's office says alcohol and careless operation appear to be contributing factors to the crash. Tomorrow, another portion of Nolen Drive will close overnight so crews can install storm sewer crossings. The closings start Monday night and run through the 30th. One of those days between 7 at night and 6 in the morning. You will not be able to drive in the northbound lanes of Nolen between Olin Avenue and North Shore Drive. Instead, the city will provide a detour route from Olin Avenue to Park Street. Southbound Nolen will stay open throughout the project, as will the Capital City Trail. No Metro Transit routes will be impacted. Today, over 40 artisans had their works for sale at the Fine Art and Crafts Sale at Oberg Botanical Gardens. There was a wide array of museums all displayed throughout the 2 rooms. Everything was handcrafted from jewelry to woodwork and pottery. Visitors also had the chance to speak to the artists about their creative process. The event has been running for 39 years. It's currently organized by the Madison Weavers Guild, who say it's more than just a show.
This is a community, and we want to connect with the community. We are part of the community, and we feel that it's very important to be as local as possible. We do have artists from outside of Wisconsin, not too many, but most of our artists here are local.
If you missed today's event, you'll have another chance to check it out in just a few months. The Weavers Guild says the next sale is set for February. Bring out the brooms or your paddles. Tenny Park this morning saw the Yahara Witches paddle. Our Nash Dara was there to check it out.
Halloween is right around the corner, and one way of knowing that would be to see dozens of witches on paddleboards going down the Yahara River. Tenny Park was home of the Yahara Witches Paddle, an event started 6 years ago by a group of friends that has now turned into a massive event, leaving the park packed with people and Halloween spirit.
It's a witches paddle, and about 6 years ago, 6 of us got on the water with our paddle boards, no makeup, rudimentary witch outfits. I think we saw it first happening in Portland and thought it was a really fun idea.
Tara was not for sure the exact number of witches that were out enjoying the beautiful fall day, but she was for certain that this was their biggest turnout ever.
It's witchy, it's the season, it's community, it's inclusive, it's fun.
Which are all things that would lead to a great October morning, with friends and a supportive community around them throughout the entire paddle route.
So we start here at the Tenny Park boat launch, and then we head out to Lake Monona. We do a big magic circle on Lake Monona and then paddle back up the river.
Throughout that windy journey, a couple of witches' hats hit the water and a lot of candy was thrown to spectators. But all in all, it was the perfect day to hear some cackling witches. At Tenny Park in Madison, Nash Dara, News 3 Now.
And the witches must have cast a spell to have such perfect weather this morning. Nash, thank you. Coming up next on News 3 Now at 10, Blaze returns with a complete look of your first one forecast. And President Trump completes the first day of his 6-day trip in Asia, overseeing a peace deal between 2 countries. Plus, the lingering government shutdown is putting a strain on air travel. Why that is next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for staying with us. President Trump continues his trip to Asia and spent Sunday overseeing the signing of a ceasefire agreement between Thailand and Cambodia. This comes as the government shutdown continues, with members of the administration expressing new concerns about the shutdown's potential impact on the economy. CBS's Willie James Inman has more.
President Trump kicked off his trip to Asia by dancing along with performers in Kuala Lumpur as he was greeted by Malaysia's Prime Minister. The president later joined in the signing of a ceasefire agreement between Thailand and Cambodia, which he helped negotiate in July, diffusing a long border dispute.
This is a momentous day for all of the people of Southeast Asia.
President Trump is expected to meet with a number of world leaders during this week's trip to Asia, including Japan's newly tapped Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping of China. On Sunday's Face the Nation, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said additional 100% tariffs on China are effectively off the table after a very good two-day meeting with Beijing's top trade negotiator.
I would expect that the threat of the 100% has gone away, as has the threat of the immediate imposition of the Chinese initiating a worldwide export control regime.
Bessent also weighed in on the ongoing government shutdown.
It's a global embarrassment what these Democratic senators are doing, keeping the government shut down. It's starting to affect the economy. It's starting to slow down air traffic.
Also on Face the Nation, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who said it's time for Republicans to sit down with Democratic leaders to discuss health care reforms.
We'll sit down anytime, any place with anyone, either at the Capitol or back at the White House, to reopen the government, to negotiate a bipartisan spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people.
The current shutdown is the second longest in U.S. history. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
Among the topics President Trump said he wants to discuss with the Chinese president when the two men meet later this week are fentanyl trafficking, as well as China's lack of soybean purchases from the U.S. Local authorities say Russia targeted Ukraine's capital with drones overnight, killing 3 people in their homes. It's the second consecutive nighttime attack in Kyiv, claiming civilian lives. Russian drones caused fires in 2 residential buildings, prompting evacuations. Ukraine's Air Force reports that Russia attacked with 101 drones overnight, 90 of which were shot down. The attack follows a missile and drone assault that killed 4 people, including 2 in Kyiv. As the government shutdown stretches into day 26, it's putting a strain on air travel. Airports across the country have reported more staffing shortages than usual. Without enough manpower, there are rising concerns about potential safety lapses. In addition, thousands of flights were delayed Saturday and more than 500 were canceled. Jen Sullivan has details on what's causing the staff shortages and what travelers can expect during the shutdown.
Thousands of flights have been delayed this weekend as airports across the country deal with staffing shortages.
There's going to be a lot less people coming in as people are going to be running out of money.
Oksana Kelly is a TSA agent in Orlando. Right now, she's not getting paid because of the government shutdown. Yet she still has to show up to work because TSA agents and air traffic controllers are considered essential employees. But many are having to call out sick because they say they simply can't afford to pay for things like gas or childcare costs.
If I have nowhere to leave my kids, how am I going to come to work?
According to flight tracker site FlightAware, more than 5,000 flights were delayed Saturday. More than 500 were canceled. Many of those delays are being blamed on staffing shortages.
We've gone up as high as 53% of the delays have been because of staffing shortages. And that number moves every single day.
It's frustrating some passengers.
I'm flying today on sheer faith.
They probably just need to come to an agreement and reopen the government.
Since the shutdown began October 1st, more than 250 FAA facilities have reported staffing problems. That's more than 4 times the number reported during the same period last year. The longer the shutdown lasts, the more financial pressure it puts on these workers.
That leads to an unnecessary distraction, and they cannot be 100% focused on their jobs. which makes this system less safe every day that this shutdown continues.
Travelers are being warned to expect longer security lines and to monitor their flights for any changes. All of this with less than a month to go before the busy holiday travel season. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Something that we'll for sure continue to keep our eye on. But for now, let's go ahead and get a look at your first one forecast. Blaze.
And it is going to be a quiet night and quiet start to the week leading up to Halloween. Mostly sunny conditions expected tomorrow. Still warm, upper 50s to low 60s. And then we start to see some rain and a little bit of cloud cover, to say the least, move in starting on Tuesday. Low to mid 50s further north and east. We break into those upper 50s to low 60s further south and west. It is going to be a bit breezy with mostly sunny to partly sunny conditions closer to Lake Michigan. The winds are going to be off of the lake, so maybe we get a little bit of cloud cover from just that little bit of moisture picked up off of the lake as we go throughout your Monday. But overall, it is going to be a beautiful start to the work week. There's our next rainmaker moving out of the Dakotas later Monday into Tuesday. And what's interesting is that main center of low pressure fizzles out as it pushes into Canada, but a second low pressure system coming out of the Texas Panhandle will pick up where that one left off and pull a lot of that moisture off towards the south, leaving us with dry conditions on Wednesday. We're going to be seeing more partly sunny conditions, but it will be breezy. And then another high pressure system moves on in for Thursday and sticks around into Halloween. And that means that we're, at least for now, looking like it's going to be dry on Halloween. Let's jump ahead to Tuesday and track out that rain. It is going to be mostly cloudy through the day across southwestern Wisconsin as we head into the evening and overnight hours. That's when we could start to see some of that rain move on into parts of Crawford, Grant, Iowa, Sauk, as well as Lafayette counties, especially further to the west. Totals looking about maybe a quarter of an inch at best. Where we find these blues, that's that half an inch or more, and that's going to stay well off to our west, especially once that low moves in out of the Texas Panhandle and keeps a lot of that moisture off even into parts of central and southern Illinois. Now let's take a look at what is the impressive Hurricane Melissa. She has a very defined and near perfect eye right there, the markings of a truly strong hurricane. She's a Category 4 with wind gusts topping nearly 200 miles per hour. She's a Category 4 now, but expected to become a Category 5 over the next 24 to 48 hours, becoming a Category 3 to a Category 2 hurricane as she passes through the Jamaica and Bahamas area. And then she will continue to push off towards the north, eventually becoming a Category 1 hurricane. Her path will keep her well off the east coast, but obviously our thoughts are with those who are in the path of Melissa. She is expected to strengthen. Hopefully, the damage there can be as minimal as it can be, given that she's likely to become a Category 5. Back at home, planning out your Monday, we're looking at a quiet day, starting out in the 30s, ending the day in the upper 50s to low 60s, staying quiet for Halloween when we hang out in the low 50s.
Does it get any more picture perfect for Halloween than what we're going to see this Friday, temperature-wise? And I mean, if I were a kid, I'd be like, this is it right here.
Yeah, if there was feet of snow.
Here, for
blustery
sure.
winds.
It's always funny, like every year we go through like our archive footage and there's, I want to say it was like 2015, 10 years ago or so, when there was like a legit snowstorm where the plows came out on Halloween and you see kids in like snowsuits out there trick-or-treating. Thankfully.
No, I think it's going to be definitely dry. If anything, light rain. And I think that's going to be well past trick-or-treating into that Saturday.
All right, well, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. And coming up in sports, a look at this week's Wisconsin Huddle, recapping everything with Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. The Packers are out east this weekend in Pittsburgh, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's a bit of deja vu for the Packers this time around. It's their first time facing former Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And he's facing them, of course, with his new team. But the question is, will they come out on top against Aaron Rodgers and the Steel Curtain? The Pack did so indeed come out on top, winning 35-25. And Jordan Love showed why the Pack moved forward with him. Love threw for 3 touchdowns and 360 yards, and at one point he completed 20 straight passes. Aaron threw for just over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Packers improved to 5-1-1 on the season. After Saturday's loss to Oregon, Wisconsin football lost their first 6 straight games in Big Ten play for the first time since 1991. One of the Badgers' best of all time was the guest on this week's Wisconsin Huddle and spoke with sports director Andrew Banstra about how Wisconsin can get back to the ways of his Badger days.
Wisconsin certainly not having the season that they may have hoped for, and Chris McIntosh put out a statement on Monday saying that he does still very much believe in Luke Fickell and will in fact add financially to the funding that the program gets. In your opinion, is that the way forward, or are there any other adjustments to get back to the Badger days that you played in?
Well, funding is a huge part of college football right now. Back in the days when the SEC was the only teams that were allowed to pay their players, it was an equal playing field other than, hey, we can recruit to our school because we got this great tradition, we got these beautiful facilities, we got a great school, we got great party scene. If you're Madison, you should come here, right? Now it's like, yeah, we got all these great things, but a player's probably second question is, hey, how much are you going to pay me? Because I got Ohio State paying me $1 million. I got Oregon offering 1, 2, or whatever it is. I think that's certainly that first big step that we need to make. But I'll say probably the next thing that I think is really important is when Barry Alvarez got here, he said, we're going to put a wall around Wisconsin and no Wisconsin football players are going to go anywhere else. And he meant it and he did it. So I think that's probably, if I was looking at what are the 2 biggest things that we need to change, one, we need to have more funding to be able to pay those players at a competitive rate with the other teams in the Big Ten. And then the other thing is we need to put more energy and effort recruiting the players within Wisconsin, because I think we've seen throughout the years, going back to when Barry first got here and he had Joe Panos, right? Guys that maybe weren't great high school players are willing to work themselves into being great players. And how much does the team that you're playing for matter to you? And if you grew up in the state of Wisconsin as a Badger fan, it just means more to put that helmet on with the Motion W. And so finding guys that maybe don't look the same on film as guys that you could recruit in other states, oftentimes become your best players, your All-Americans, your Jim Leonards, because Badgers meant something to them. It was important to be a Badger. And even though they showed up on campus maybe not as developed or ready to play and contribute, because of how important this state is and this team is to them, and the fact that they've got all their parents and their family and their friends watching them every single week and caring about what happens with that team, you're going to get more out of them. And a lot of times they're going to become some of your best players, and they're going to be the guys that talk about the values and the tradition that's here, that build a culture in your locker room that was so much a part of Badger football past that's just not a part of it right now. And I think that's one thing that they can fix immediately.
Thank you, Andrew. You can see their full conversation online. We'll be back with more after the break.
Sunny and warm Monday with rain arriving by Tuesday.